Hey everybody, BTO Pro here. Today I'm gonna integrate CCMixter with HAX. Again, it's just another example of how we can pull these things together from the universe, kind of create this app store of stuff that we connect to. So searching around, they have a public API. If you're not familiar with CCMixter, I've only been familiar with it for a few minutes, but it's lets you have access to all kind of Creative Commons things produced by different musicians. So I looked into the API and it's pretty cool. You could, if I change this to say HTML, it'll deliver me an HTML version of what I requested. I think if I take off format entirely, there we go, it'll build this nice little list. So they have a pretty cool unified API as far as what their look and feel, as well as just getting access to the data. So if I wanted to pull this information in, right, I'm effectively searching for, in this case, U equals Victor here. So if we look through the API, there we go. There's query API. You can see there's some parameters to pass in. Make that a little bigger. As far as what I'm searching for. And so if I look for the name of something, I assume title, there we go. Title, okay, title or name of something would probably help. I should be able to return, things that are called that. So let's look at what it would take to actually wire this up to HAX. So I've got this API. Let's set it back to what I had it before, where I said format JSON. And what's the topics? Okay, so data source of topics, or I could look for tags. This would be hip hop music, sort of by name. I wonder if I could just ask for, just the name of something. So let's look for like name. Let's do May. Okay, so there's May Day came up from that. Let's search for something that doesn't have May in it. Well, Dolphins Calling came up with May for some reason, so I'm kind of thinking I just ignored that, to be perfectly honest. Let's look for title. Dolphin. Nope. Striking out here a little bit. So probably be a URL, song, track, name, okay, sort by name, tag. You would think they would have the last 15 uploads sort of by, no, not user's name. Chop, match. Username, title used with format. We need tags. Where's hip hop? There we go. Tags, hip hop. So pull up hip hop, and then if I wanted to do, I don't care about by user. I just want to sort by name for hip hop. Okay, and then format equals JSON. I had that before. Yeah, you have to set a limit or else their headers apparently bomb out. There we go. So there's limit to just 20 items, and it seems to go through. So, okay, so now we've got that. searching based on a tag of hip hop. So let's put in like copyright criminals for reason, and that comes up with a bunch of stuff. Tag, search for upload tags, and then we can search for copyright criminals. That's an interesting name. Or do chill. Let's do chill. That'll come up with different stuff, right? Oh yeah, a lot of things say chill. Okay. Bunch of different music as a result of that. So you can see we can kind of pass different values in and get back some songs. Right? I have no idea what these songs are. So then the next step is starting to wire this in. So let's just copy this, and this is a public API. And we're going to go into the demo here. For now, I just have like example keys on everything, but let's copy the NASA search did earlier. And do this source is instead going to be let's name it CCMixter. CCMixter. Okay, and this is an audio file. So what we're trying to do is get it to show up here. We want like a little music note type of thing. I just can't remember the name of that iron icon. Sure, iron icons until we refactor that. Once we refactor it, then it'll have support for more than just iron icons. But music, a bunch of things. Music note. Let's do AV library music. Sure, why not? Okay. So put that in, and we will say that this is orange for no reason. The author of this is CCMixter. Teaser is Creative Commons Audio. All right. User submitted audio files and music. Cool. That's available. All right, now we're going to paste in that API call. Okay. And then we're going to piece through it. So we look for the parts of this that need to be tokenized in some way. So I can take that off because that's just what the request is. Let's look what the query parameter is. So just for the purposes of right now, we're going to put in tags as a query parameter, and we're going to do sort. We actually will have support for these going forward to be able to actually do more than just hard code wire these in. And just to get this to show information of some kind, we'll say 20. So I'm kind of hard coding those right now. Ideally, you'd be able to have like a drop down and sort by name or limit differently, and that's actually something Mike's working on. So now what I want to do is I want to look at the structure of this information. So it doesn't have a wrapper at the high level. It's kind of nice. And I want a name. So upload name is going to be where my title information is, so to speak. There isn't actually a root to this. Kind of weird. I don't know if it's going to get mad about that or not as a result. But this is audio. And our title is going to come from upload name. So I'm kind of walking through the structure of this in order to find, to get at the thing that I want to display on my little card. So I'm looking for something that is an image of some kind, right? PNG. Artist page URL, but yet I don't see like a picture, because we would want a picture of some kind, obviously. For the moment, I'm just going to point to whatever the license logo URL is, which is going to be a picture. Or it's going to be something silly, but just to see if that's even something I can hit. Let's see what these other things are we hit. So that would be the user. So in this case, I might have to, hit some other address and get the user pulled in, sort of deal. So let's do image is license logo URL just for the time being. And description would have a little bit more detail than just May Mother Day. What would be a good thing to put for that? Oh, there we go. Upload description in plain text. It's nice. We don't have a custom gizmo on this. That would have to do with, if this was more than just audio coming across. And then I need a link to the thing in question as to where this address is coming from. So if we look at the download URL, it has content Victor slash, let's see what that is actually a construction of. There is the name of the file, and then there's Victor that comes from somewhere in here. That would be the username, I see. Okay, so let's see if there's a way you could, we'll just go direct to the file for the time being. So we do download URL and then URL. In this case for URL, I'm not going to put anything, just do download URL. All right, let's see what we got here. Okay, rich media, find something, CCMixter, hip hop. Would appear to have returned nothing. So next piece of that is looking at the network requests going out the door, and we see it did actually return stuff. So it's making the initial call correctly. It's as if our follow-up call is wrong. And I wonder if that's because it's not actually structured in anything. Like if we require there to be a root wrapper, more or less. I wonder if it's just a period, if that would help. Or if that'll make it angry. This is part of why I integrate with a bunch of different sources for things is to kind of discover, based on the structure of APIs out there. See, so that bombed. That got very angry. It's not like that I put in that. Based on the structure of what's out there, can we actually, pull things back in? So when there's no root defined, are we still able to assemble enough information to make a card show up, to be perfectly honest? If we can, then that means that our element that's rendering this stuff is flexible enough. Like, I got Unsplash working recently, so I should be able to search for like golf course and return a bunch of images of golf courses. So by hooking that up, and then I can start to see, okay, well, we don't have a description. What happens when there's no description? What happens when the information loads really fast, right? In this case, there is a description, and it loaded in quickly, and you see everything is uniform card presentation. However, with the unsplashed one, you saw there was the variation. So even getting down to some stuff like that, is really important to search across all these different sources. So now I have NASA media, Unsplash media, YouTube. I can pull together Vimeo as well. Search for Mario Kart or whatever. So there's some Mario Kart imagery, and so trying to get CCMixter in here, but really just trying to get anything in. And these are not silver bullets. So part of this was also doing it to see if I could cause problems. Well, chill had a lot of responses, so we do chill. And then source, okay. So we are getting information across, and it would appear to be in the right format. Wondering what exactly is going on there. So there's license logo URL. We have license logo URL in there. Let's just, to be silly, let's make sure that this actually passes JSON lint. Okay. And then we have download name, upload name, and the root. So now I can start to kind of dig into this HAX source tag and go, okay, well something's up here, right? Because it has root, and it seems to be requiring root. Media list change. This has to do with mapping things in each of these paths. So it's saying if the map.root is not undefined. So that's curious. I'm effectively requiring a root to exist. And it's entirely possible that there isn't one. So let's see what happens if we take that out. Because it is possible that there is no root. Now, I don't know if that'll impact other things, so it's a little bit of my haphazard process here you get to see. So let's make sure that like YouTube still works. Okay, good. And then we go to like CCMixer and do chill. All right, we threw an error, I can see. Cannot read property length of undefined. Okay, so then we can backtrace. This really, it starts to kind of illustrate why I like working with Polymer and just a web components-based approach to this. I can very easily know the file that something is broken in. So it's saying undefined as far as where this root is for the data in general. Huh. Okay. So let's console.log that. And I think, you know what, actually, I think I know what's going on here. So let's take that, and we only need to do this operation if we have a root to map things to. And the root allows you to basically target a deeper initial structure in the data that came across. So if you send across like a 200 response and it actually says status, equals 200, this lets you kind of shift the data away from everything else. So what we're going to do at first is we're going to have data equal new value, and then, okay, and we'll do this. So we'll look for a root element if one exists, because this .root part is only for initially shifting the information in question. So then if it has a root defined, it will take the data that came in and it's going to overwrite that data with the new one basically. Or even better, let's do else. And so we've got, all right, so data is just going to be new value in that case, meaning the information that came across is in a format that is already normalized. Where this will be important for HAX integrating with things going forward, long term, you see data is not defined. Okay, so then we have yet another thing to resolve. It is, I don't want to guarantee what the back end, the data coming across from the back end looks like. See, so let is, that's right. Let is very tightly scoped there. So we're going to have data equal an array to start. Let is a ES6 convention. I actually haven't used it in this way before, so there we go. Okay, so now the scoping of data is to this entire function instead of the little if statement. So let's do YouTube again, just make sure that still works good. Now let's do Mixer. Hey, there we go. Sweet. So again, obviously I would want like the user profile picture or whatever the thing is. But for these initial tests and these things I'm getting in place, I'm really just trying to get stuff to stitch together. And so if we wanted to search for dubstep as a tag, now there would be the different, dub_step didn't return anything, so that's kind of nice. No one's putting it that way. And see as two separate words. So you get into those differences. So now when I click on one of these, I have no idea what these are. There we go. Okay, it is saying that there is no track defined. Now it did bubble up correctly, so that's cool. What it's supposed to do when you select it is it's supposed to inject this value here. So it's possible it didn't get it correctly. So let's look. License upload URL, and then ID is supposed to be download URL. And you know, when media list changes, how about when media list changes? Right when we go to set this, let's console that just to see if it actually is pulling across correctly. Get to kind of see some of the magic going on here. So, all right, dubstep. We get our responses, and then here's what the structure that it mapped to. And we can see, yeah, URL is undefined. So I am pointing to something wrong there, obviously. Okay, but you can see, you know, description came in, so that's awesome. The way this works is basically we're normalizing the information from an API endpoint into this very basic structure here. So, okay, let's look at, I have download URL. I'm gonna say that's not actually accurate because it's claiming that my ID is undefined and my URL is undefined. So something is up with that data coming across. So I can do a network inspect here, and we can see there is no download URL. It's in files. Ah, that would be the problem. Okay, so now to get access to that, I can kind of look at the path involved here and see, you know, 2 and then files and then 0 and then download URL. So to get access to that, what I actually need to write is I need to write files.0.download URL. And what this is going to do is the HAX source is going to step into this object when it comes across, and it's going to basically pick the data apart and normalize it. So like title is upload name. So if I look in here, we've got upload name, right? So it's going to take upload name, this, and it's going to map it there. When it sees that files part, or for the ID, it says, hey, I need an identifier. It goes files, 0, and then download URL, and it'll normalize that. So you're basically pulling apart this complex structure and mapping it to a nice little structure that can present cards, basically. So if I do find stuff now, CCMixter, and we do dubstep. Okay, our cards come across, wobbly base, and now wobbly base has been injected into the source field. So there's a Creative Commons licensed work. Now obviously I would want to inject the title. Right now we just have it injecting source to source and not other fields. I would want it to inject the title. I'd want it to leave something to indicate the copyright of this person, so that it's in compliance with Creative Commons. But now we can embed from CCMixter. And so now the rest of HAX kicks in. We got that inserted. I can make this a different size. I can throw it in the middle of the page. I can move it up above that other block. I could close that, tell it to step away. And I still have my cool little embed thing there. So I'll post up, I'll update the demo so that it'll now include CCMixter. Still working towards getting it to do those other things. We need to map those other properties. We also need to, we're working on a backend, an actual like a mini CMS that will deliver this output. So we need to refactor some things a little bit, but we want these to be able to be stuff that's copy and pasted, and if you plug in your Vimeo credential and your YouTube credential and your Unsplash credential, that those just show up, so that you can start to really improve your workflows with content production by never actually having to leave the system that you're using to produce all this stuff.